Stick around until the end, and I'll show you the little trick that keeps these meatballs extra tender every single time. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Spoon Harbor. If you're craving a big bowl of comfort food, you've come to the right place. Today, we're making juicy homemade meatballs simmered in a rich tomato sauce, served over perfectly cooked pasta, and finished with plenty of freshly grated Parmesan. Today's recipe goes out to our friend Peter, who requested this one. Great pick, Peter. Let's get cooking. Here's what you'll need. Ground beef and turkey blend, 1.5 pounds. Breadcrumbs, 3/4 cup. Whole milk, 1/3 cup. 1 large egg. 3 garlic cloves. Fresh parsley, 3 tablespoons, finely chopped. Salt, 1/2 teaspoon. And freshly ground black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon. We are using a blend of ground beef and turkey today, but feel free to use whatever ground meat you enjoy most. Pork, chicken, turkey, or beef, or your favorite combination, will all work beautifully. Add the salt, pepper, and egg to the meat. We're using about 1/2 teaspoon of salt today, but depending on your taste and the type of meat you're using, anywhere from 1/2 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon works well. Press in the garlic. If you're mincing it by hand, chop it as finely as possible. Pour the milk over the breadcrumbs and stir until they're evenly soaked. Here's a little trick that makes a big difference. Add the soaked breadcrumbs straight to the meat before they have a chance to clump together. Trust me, it's worth it. Mix everything until just combined. Try not to overmix. Once everything comes together, you're good to go. Overworking the meat can make the meatballs a little tougher. Give the mixture a few good smacks against the bowl. It looks a little dramatic, but it helps the meatballs hold their shape. Finely chop the parsley. Mix it into the meat. One last quick mix. We're using a pair of meatball tongs to shape the meatballs. It makes the job quick, and every meatball comes out the same size, so they'll all cook evenly. Dip the tongs in water every few meatballs to keep the meat from sticking. Wet your hands occasionally too. It makes rolling the meatballs much easier. Don't worry if they're not absolutely perfect. Once they're simmering in the sauce, nobody's going to notice. Now let's move on to the sauce. It's what really brings everything together and makes these meatballs shine. You'll need 1 medium onion, 2 large garlic cloves, 2 tablespoons olive oil, 1.5 pounds ripe tomatoes, 1 medium bell pepper, 2 tablespoons tomato paste, 2 teaspoons sugar, 1 teaspoon salt divided, a pinch of black pepper, 2 tablespoons chopped fresh parsley, and 2 sprigs fresh rosemary. Finely dice the onion. Dice the bell pepper into small pieces. Grate the tomatoes on the large holes of a box grater. The skins stay behind, while all that fresh tomato goodness goes into the sauce. Heat a large skillet over medium-high heat and add the olive oil. Brown the meatballs on all sides. We're not cooking them through yet. We're building flavor. A good crust now means even more flavor later. Turn them every minute or so until they're evenly browned. Transfer the meatballs to a plate. Add the rosemary to the same pan and let it sizzle for about a minute. Your kitchen should already smell amazing. Add the onion and cook until softened. Stir in the bell pepper and cook for another few minutes. Add the tomato paste. Stir in the sugar to balance the tomatoes. The sugar isn't there to make the sauce sweet. It simply balances the acidity of the tomatoes. Press in the garlic. Stir well. Cook for another minute or two. Season with half the salt and a pinch of pepper. Add the grated tomatoes and let the sauce simmer until slightly thickened. If your tomatoes are especially tart, feel free to add another teaspoon of sugar later on. Stir in the remaining salt and the parsley. Let the flavors come together. Simmer gently, stirring occasionally. Return the meatballs to the sauce. Cover and simmer gently for 15 to 20 minutes. The meatballs finish cooking while soaking up all that rich tomato flavor. Before serving, while the meatballs finish simmering, let's get the pasta going. You'll need 14 ounces pasta, 1.5 ounces freshly grated Parmesan, and fresh parsley. Use about 1 gallon of water and 3 tablespoons of kosher salt. Once the water comes to a boil, add the salt. Your pasta water should taste well seasoned, saltier than soup, but not so salty that you'd want to drink it. Now add the pasta. Stir during the first couple of minutes so it doesn't stick together. Cook until al dente, tender with just a little bite left. If possible, grate the Parmesan yourself. It melts better, and the flavor is hard to beat. Time to plate. Now comes the best part. Now twirl the pasta into a neat little nest. Top with the meatballs and plenty of tomato sauce. And don't forget a little extra sauce. Nobody ever complains about extra sauce. Finish with a generous shower of freshly grated Parmesan. There's really no such thing as too much. Garnish with fresh parsley, and there you have it. Bon appetit! One bite, and it's easy to see why this dish has been loved for generations. Tender meatballs, rich tomato sauce, perfectly cooked pasta, comfort food doesn't get much better than this. Thanks for cooking with us today. If you enjoyed today's recipe, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to Spoon Harbor, and let us know in the comments what you'd like us to cook next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Happy cooking!